Hello all, it's Jaames Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade, and I am here for an important question.
If you had the misfortune to do too much of it at school, you'll probably remember one thing about history, just how boring it can be. You might harbour painful memories of the 100 Years' War, the War of Spanish Succession, crop rotation in the Middle Ages, or heaven forbid, the good deeds of Florence Nightingale. As a result, it wouldn't be surprising if nowadays you tended to steer well clear of the whole topic. But that would be a pity. The real reason why history is so boring is that we're not clear about what it should be for. Here's the big reason why history matters. It matters because it can provide us with solutions to many of the problems of the present. At its best, history is there to introduce us to some of the things we need, but that aren't sufficiently visible in the world today.
Indeed. There are so many things going wrong in history currently, especially in the United States in this very tumultuous time, that we can easily look back to history to fix. At the same time, one of the big problems that's going on is a large segment of the population trying to erase history. Anyway, on to the next video.
Biden worried that his children would grow up, quote, in a racial jungle if integration is not done in his orderly way, whatever that means.
I wanted to start
1993, referring to inner city youth as, quote,
right
by
here.
the way, what did Biden and other Democrats, what they want you to forget is many of those that they so admire and call their mentors, well, they fought tooth and nail against these important reforms. For example, it was a Democrat, George Wallace, who stood in the doorway of that Birmingham school to physically block racial integration. It was a Democrat, Bull Connor, who used fire hoses and police dogs to attack civil rights, peaceful protesters. It was over 100 Democratic lawmakers who voted against the '64 Civil Rights Bill. Al Gore's father, a prominent Democratic senator, well, he actually filibustered the bill. So did Robert KKK Byrd, the former Klansman. So did noted segregationist J. William Fulbright, all Democrats. Keep in mind, Bill Clinton called Fulbright his mentor. He eulogized Fulbright while he was serving as president. And despite his past as a Klan leader, and actually the head of the Klan, modern Democrats practically lined up to shower Robert Byrd with praise. They even made him the Senate Majority Leader. Hillary Clinton calling Robert Byrd the heart and soul of the U.S. Senate. Chuck Schumer calling Byrd one of the greatest men in history. Pelosi calling Byrd an American patriot. Biden calling Byrd the dean of the U.S. Senate, a close friend, and a mentor of mine. Imagine if Donald Trump said this about a Klansman. Now, keep in mind, Biden once worked side by side with segregationists. This is Joe Biden's record. In a speech in 1973, then Senator Biden praising Southern Democrats and said that the two-party system in the South was, quote, good for the bleep. And around the same time, Biden was actively working with desegregationists. He was slowing and trying to stop integration, opposing school busing. And according to NBC News, quote, he led the charge that on an issue that kept black students away from the classrooms from white students. That's Joe Biden. That's the Democratic nominee. That's his history. Those are questions the mob have not asked him. In 19...
All right. So here we saw some background on the Democratic Party for roughly the past 20, 30 years. Well, maybe a little bit more. Let's go back to the 60s. So 40, 50, 60 years. Anyway, I think it's quite interesting that an actual Klansman was a Democratic representative to the Senate. An actual Klansman was pointed out by the most prominent of Democratic lawmakers like Hillary Clinton, or Joe Biden, and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. So, but yet, mainstream media points this white supremacist flashlight at Donald Trump over everything, and they allude that Donald Trump is linked to the KKK. But yet, obvious links to the KKK that have been right before our eyes for the past 60 years get completely ignored. All right, let's move on. One of my favorite guys, Tucker here, is going to show us a nice little piece.
Yet, as the president pointed out, American school children learn virtually none of this.
Again, I started at the wrong time.
Have become because sometimes he does tell the truth, and he did it the other day. On Friday, the president gave a speech at Mount Rushmore. He spoke eloquently about the BLM riots and what they mean for the country. Here's part of it.
Make no mistake, this left-wing cultural revolution is designed to overthrow the American Revolution. In so doing, they would destroy the very civilization that rescued billions from poverty, disease, violence, and hunger, and that lifted humanity to new heights of achievement, discovery, and progress. To make this possible, they are determined to tear down every statue, symbol, and memory of our national heritage.
Our national heritage, it's something we can be proud of. This country defeated both fascism and communism. Our revolution inspired democratic revolutions around the world, from South America to India. Even today, pro-freedom demonstrators in Hong Kong, where the stakes are very high, wave the American flag to express their hope and their defiance. Our economy and our schools created the world's first and the greatest educated middle class. Our engineers and our scientists invented the airplane and the transistor and virtually everything else in modern life. They also transformed agriculture. They ended famine on most of the globe. Our richest citizens became famous not for the palaces they built to themselves, but for the philanthropy they gave to others. Andrew Carnegie built countless libraries for the poor. John D. Rockefeller eradicated hookworm in the South. These are not the deeds of an evil country. They're the accomplishments of a great country.
Tucker said that well. When I think back to my childhood, I can remember saying the Pledge of Allegiance in the classroom. And just how proud it made me feel to be an American. It's part of the reason I grew up to join the military and join the United States Navy and go on to serve my country. Take part in Gulf War I and II. I was proud to be an American. And I'm still proud to be an American. This is the greatest country on God's green earth. And for those who are not proud to be an American, for those who look at our country so disrespectfully, you shouldn't be welcome here. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment. Do I got the right time here? No, again, I've... Here we go.
One of their political weapons is cancel culture, driving people from their jobs, shaming dissenters, and demanding total submission from anyone who disagrees. This is the very definition of totalitarianism, and it is completely alien to our culture and to our values, and it has absolutely no place in the United States of America.
Amen. This is Trump's best speech he's ever given. If you haven't seen the full thing, you really need to.
This attack on our liberty, our magnificent liberty, must be stopped, and it will be stopped very quickly. We will expose this dangerous movement, protect our nation's children, end this radical assault, and preserve our beloved American way of life.
preserve our beloved American way of life, and protect our children. It doesn't get any more apt than that. He is spot on, as usual. How spot on is he? Well, let's take a look.
Chicago's seen a tragic level of violence since the Black Lives Matter marches started, and it's claiming African American lives and costing the black community dearly. The bad guys here aren't the folks going to Mount Rushmore. They're criminals murdering children on the streets of our nation's third largest city. 80 people were shot and 17 killed in Chicago last weekend alone, and at least 13 of those were African American. And it gets even more tragic. Including among the dead is a 7-year-old, Natalia Wallace. She was shot in the head. She was visiting her grandmother for the 4th of July. And
Disgusting.
sadly, she wasn't the only child killed. In Southeast D.C., 11-year-old Devon McNeil shot and killed at a 4th of July cookout with his family. Armed thugs in Atlanta murdered 8-year-old Secoria Turner near the Wendy's where Rayshard Brooks died at the hands of police. Now, this is senseless and awful killing, and it's obviously left her parents heartbroken, shattered, and asking why.
They say Black Lives Matter. You killed your own. Killed your own this time. Just because of a barrier. They killed my baby because she crossed the barrier and made a U-turn. You killed a child. She didn't do nothing to nobody.
She didn't do nothing to nobody. Kids. Children. Not even teenagers. Have been killed in this senseless stupidity by unpatriotic people that don't even deserve to live in this country. I served this country to protect and stand up for the rights of everyone here to practice their First Amendment rights, to speak up, to protest, to love their country. But what these people are doing, it's not protesting. It's not loving their country. It's senseless, horrific, brutal violence that has no place in the United States. I'm sorry. These people are revolutionary. They don't believe in the United States. They are not patriots. They are the #1 biggest threat to the United States right now. Most people would say China if you asked them, what's the biggest threat to the United States? And it would be a fairly logical answer, right? China. But no, the biggest threat to the United States is the radical, homegrown, Marxist thugs all over this country, tearing it down from the inside. There's never been a threat to the United States like the one we face today.
Republican president, but the popular vote nationally goes for the opponent. Well, under this scheme, Texas would be required potentially to throw all of its electors in the pot with the person who won the popular vote as opposed to the one who won the vote in Texas or somewhere else. So essentially it would undo the compromise at the heart of our constitutional system, which allowed big states and small states to get together and come up with a compromise that protects the power of the small states by having electors to overcome the populist big states that could swamp the system in any federal election. Look, we have individual states, Lou. The left hates it, and that's why they're trying to undo the Electoral College.
Well, and they have some company because there are a number of people on the right who would like to see the federal system prevail over the federalist system of this country, and to eliminate states' rights as well. This is, as you say, and as Judicial Watch has been pursuing, this is a critically important issue among so many. The Republican Party, do you believe it is sufficiently animated in defending against the assault by the Democrats and the left in this country?
Generally, no. I mean, one of the problems, besides the kind of the weak approach too many Republicans have to these dire threats to our nation, is that the left is focusing and fighting on so many issues. And the standard operating procedure for many Republicans, and frankly just many regular people, is, you know, we just can't fight everywhere. But they're fighting everywhere. They're fighting on the Electoral College. They're trying to swamp the mails with ballots. They had the coup impeachment against Trump. They've got violence in the streets. Lou, our republic is under attack like it's never been before, and it can't be the status quo or the typical approach that defenders of the Constitution typically take.
Our republic is most certainly under attack like it's never been before, and Tom Fitton is one of the few real patriots fighting this real civil war we are in the middle of. We are fighting a war right now, folks. And right now it's a war of hearts and minds and opinions and ideas about what makes the United States great. Tom Fitton, this guy right here, he's out there doing stuff. He's a warrior on the front line. And he's right. The other side is coming at us in every direction possible. They're trying to impeach Trump. They're trying to, screw up the Electoral College. They're doing everything possible. They're burning down businesses. They're rioting. It's just, we've never seen anything like this in the United States. But the number one message that they have out there, the number one message that we see day in and day out. Let's go here. President's 4th of July speech, right? If you were to search this speech, this amazing speech, probably one of the greatest speeches, it is the greatest speech he's ever given. Analysis of Trump's rhetoric in his 4th of July weekend speech. The mainstream media and CBS is calling it rhetoric. CBS News, Trump delivers divisive 4th of July speech. Divisive, you say. Stelter, Trump's Mount Rushmore speech won't make sense to most people. It won't? I don't even, I can't begin to express the words that make me wonder how this can be. Look at some of this stuff. Trump slams media for, he did slam media for dishonoring U.S. military, so that's an okay one. In 4th of July, Trump goes after radical left media. Trump goes after left, blames China for coronavirus. Trump delivers divisive 4th of July speech, says CBC News. Trump slams, they should be slammed in patriotic 4th of July speech. It is patriotic, exactly right. This is a good headline right here. Trump slams, should be rioters in patriotic 4th of July speech at Mount Rushmore. But it's amazing how just utterly on different sides of the spectrum some of these headlines about his speech are. And it just shows you where we are as a country. Tom Fitton's right. If we don't speak up, if we don't fight, if we don't express our patriotism, we're going to lose this country. Steven Crowder called us the silent majority in one of his recent videos. And he said something to the effect of, if we don't speak up, we are culpable for what's going to happen. And he is right. We can't be a silent majority. This is what you need to do. You need to be a patriot. Go out, buy a flag, put it in your yard. It's that simple. Put a flag in your yard, put a flag on your bumper sticker, put a flag in the bed of your truck, put a flag in the window of your car. Be a patriot. Show your neighbor who you are. Stop allowing this narrative that everyone in the U.S. hates itself to fester and take hold. And then the other thing is we need to fight back against these corporations like Nike, who's all in with the virtue signaling and the taking a knee by the Kaepernick, Colin Kaepernick, who's basically, as far as I'm concerned, he's a racist. Disney, just boycott Disney. Don't even bother watching they haven't made anything worth a crap except for The Mandalorian, which, is that worth saving all the rest of the crap that they've put out lately? Stop using T-Mobile. Get rid of Papa John's. The NFL. Don't watch the NFL this year. If they're gonna take a knee, don't watch. We don't need to watch that crap. Starbucks, there's plenty of other little coffee houses that would love to give you a cup of coffee for a lot less. So start hurting these corporations in their pocketbooks. Start teaching them a lesson for their malarkey, to take a Joe Biden term. And if you happen to be some corporate person with some influence and you're watching this video, pull your collective head out of your ass. If you think that supporting Marxist revolutionaries is going to be good for your business in the long run, when you end up in a country like Venezuela, you think your company is going to have its greatest years underneath an oppressive communist regime? Think again. You've got some pretty messed up long-term goals going on right now, American corporations. And finally, I'm going to end this video with one of the best remade songs I've ever heard. And it is, as Laura Ingraham would say, the angle of this video. If we're going to fight this foolishness, we need to fight it with patriotism. And if this doesn't leave you feeling patriotic, I don't know what will.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife.
I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away.
To be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
From the lakes of Minnesota
to the hills of Tennessee,
across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea.
from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA,
Where there's pride in every American heart,
and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me, and I'd rather stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA. God bless this country. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless, please bless the
God bless you all out there. I'm Jaames Johnson, aka Sulfur Blade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And remember what I said. Go forth and be a patriot, and let's save this country from the idiots that have our country under siege. Until next time, all. Peace.